I want you to be platinum. I want you to be strong, tough. Let's get it out of the way. What is this name? Where did it come from? Men deserve a seat at the table as well. Actually, I'm kind of curious what ChatGPT says about me. I swear to you, I am going to come after you. Let's talk about sex.
Here we go.
Hello, pussies. Welcome to the very first episode of my brand new podcast, Platinum Pussy, and I am your host, Sarish Khan. I'm so excited to go on this journey with you. This has been a long time coming, and I've finally gotten the confidence and everything in place to get this started. So each week, we are going to talk about the themes and the ideas and concepts around confidence, autonomy, success, and power. What does the word platinum pussy have to do with all of these? So let's just start there. Let's get it out of the way. What is this name? Where did it come from? So pussy is a word that we have all heard in our lifetime, many, many times, I'm sure. And first and foremost, it's not a word that's heavily used in my vocabulary until maybe a year and a half ago. It's not something that I'm super comfortable with. I didn't really imagine myself using that word in a positive way because so often it's been associated with negativity. So my experience with the word pussy has been men calling other men pussies, like don't be a pussy, like buck up, do like the shit you need to do. So it always felt like it was a term of weakness, or it's been used as a derogatory term towards like women, or like sex, like men going out on town and crushing pussy. So it just gave me a lot of discomfort hearing it and talking about it, and I just wanted nothing to do with it. Until very recently, where I realized that it is something that we need to reclaim and bring back to ourselves as women because it has to do with our bodies. And we can't just let words like that be thrown around and take it lightly. When a guy says that you're being a pussy, it doesn't really make sense to me because it is one of the most powerful organs if we're talking about the vulva. Actually, it's a system of organs, and I won't get into female anatomy on this episode, but we will dig into it a little later. So the fact that there's so much strength and there's so much honor, and it is literally a life force, like you give birth, is powerful. And I just want there to be no shame around it. So that's where the term pussy is obviously important for me. And then now coming to platinum. Okay, so I was driving around the other day, and the term came about way before any of this, but I think because it's in my mind, I've been driving around, and here in LA, you'll see like there's like platinum auto sports. The other day I saw platinum Pilates, and I was walking in Whole Foods maybe like a week or two ago, and there was a security guard and this emblem said platinum security. So platinum is something that we associate with like the highest, the best, like just something that's unbreakable, unshakable. And I did a little bit of research because I'm a nerd. And before doing this episode, I just really wanted to hone in on like, what does platinum really mean to me? And platinum is one of those metals that is extremely strong. It is very hard and it is tough. The unique thing about platinum that I really, really love is that it's malleable and you can mold it, but it still retains its strength and its toughness. And when platinum is met with impact, it doesn't crack and it doesn't break. But over time, it molds and it shifts like in its color. And especially, just stick with me. There's a point here, I promise. But especially when it comes to jewelry, platinum is a very preferred metal because over time, as it like molds and comes into its own, it changes its tone and its mattness and its finish. And a lot of people actually find that to be more valuable. And to me, that really is how I view women. That's how I view myself. I think we're living in a time, and frankly, we've been living in a time for many, many decades and eons where women are judged for anything they do or or for everything that they do not do. So whether you dress a certain way, you talk a certain way, if you're too emotional, if you're too loud, there's so many judgments about you. And I want you to be platinum. I want you to be strong, tough, but also recognize all the adversity that you go through in life. So when you are met with impact, when you are met with things that are not favorable to you, I don't want you to just ignore it or just fight it and just be tough. It will shape you and mold you, and it'll become this beautiful concoction of a new individual metal, which is you. So platinum pussy altogether for me is women having autonomy, choosing to be different, showing up however you want to in the world. And we're not a monolith. We're all so, so different from our, cultures, our backgrounds. And your only responsibility is to be yourself and be a platinum pussy. So that's what the term means. How did I come up with the term? I'm going to be asking myself the questions that I would think an interviewer is asking me. So how did that term even come up? I've been told by many people, especially men, that you have big dick energy. And 20-year-old me used to eat that up. Like, I loved that shit because growing up, it was always admirable and desirable to be in the boys' club. And I was, for the most part. I liked football. I was okay speaking my mind. I wasn't outwardly emotional and sensitive. So, I could take a lot of jokes, even though it internally would affect me, but I would just kind of bro it out and be fine with it. I had this little friendly altercation with one of my male friends about a year and a half ago. We're out at brunch and, just whatever, shooting the shit. And I had somewhere else to be right after. So everyone was kind of arguing about what the split was for the bill. And I just didn't have the time. This is really not me flexing, but I just didn't have the time. So I was like, you know what, just put it on my card and we'll just figure it out later. No big deal. And it just so happened that it was a Platinum Amex, which it's not that hard to get a Platinum Amex. So I'm really, really not trying to flex here. Anyway, one of my guy friends was like, damn, yo, Sarish has massive big dick energy. And I don't know what I was on that day. I think I had just gone through a negotiation where I was sitting in a room with a bunch of men. And for some reason, I just got really pissed off by it. And I was like, no, I don't. I don't have a dick. I don't have that body part. I do not have big dick energy. And I couldn't come up with the words. And I'm looking at my Platinum Amex and I'm like, I have platinum pussy energy. And that was the birth of this idea. And I felt kind of weird about saying it at the outset, but the more I sat with it, the more I realized that so often a woman's success and her worth is only as good as her male counterpart. So when I was a lawyer in New York and I was working in private equity and working with a bunch of investment bankers, I've always kind of been a bit, I would say I definitely have been a bit more of an aggressive person in general, but also in the way that I've handled my legal career, especially when it came to New York, because that's just such a tough city and requires so much grit. And I just remember time and time again that when I would do well, whether it was a case or a career with a client, it was the appreciation was always pinned against other men. It was this mark of validation or approval that I could fight as hard as my male counterparts. And the point of it all is women should be valued for what they're worth. We're in our own category and we are physiologically different than men. So when I'm doing well and when I'm powerful or, honorable, I should be honorable as a woman, not because I'm acting like a man. Because honestly, I don't want to be like a man. I love men and I am not in competition with them. And Platinum pussy for me is representative of that. So with that, let's get into it. Oh, actually, fuck. Okay, I fucked up. I totally didn't introduce myself. Why the fuck should you guys listen to me? Sorry. Okay, I am Sarish Khan, and I am a loud, opinionated, badly behaved, emotional, sensitive, passionate woman. And I have been through a lot of shit in my life. I faced a lot of adversity, and I've come out of it on the other side, but I still deal with challenges. And I want to use everything that I've learned, and I want to share it with you guys. And I have like worked through my personal issues, sexual issues, career issues, and share it with everyone and have open conversations around it, because I'm still learning. I'm still figuring it out. I haven't cracked the code necessarily, but one thing I can promise you is I'm always going to be fully open and honest, and it's going to be messy, but it will be fun, and hopefully you get something out of it. As far as like my credentials on paper, I have been an attorney for over 10 years. I've worked in women empowerment with the UN, but honestly, I think all of that is a little bit boring, and who really cares? It's just, if you like me, and if you don't, that's okay. So, and if you want more about my credentials, you can probably like do a deep dive on like ChatGPT, I guess. Actually, I'm kind of curious what ChatGPT says about me. Actually, let's do this. Who is Sarish Khan? It's loading. Oh, okay. Oh, wait, this is some good shit. Okay. Sarish Khan is a multifaceted personality and attorney, actress, model, social activist, currently based in Los Angeles. I already like where this is going. Legal and educational background. We can pass through that. I went to law school. We've already talked about it. Pageantry. Okay. An advocate. She was Miss Pakistan USA in 2015. She used her platform to champion gender equality and serve women as a women empowerment ambassador. Heritage and culture. She's the granddaughter of legendary actor Sabia Khanum and Santosh Kumar. This is so good. We'll get into this at another time. It's not really that important right now. Film and modeling and television, cool. Current projects. She maintains active presence online as a lawyer, dancer, and podcaster, and is in her platinum era. She's using platinum pussy to advocate for women globally. I haven't really done all of that yet, but that's pretty fucking good. Would you like to learn? Okay, you guys can go learn more about me, because this is, I actually don't think I could have flexed that hard about myself. So all that is out of the way, and, if those credentials aren't still good enough for you, you can, go listen to Joe Rogan or Mel Robbins or whoever gets your dick hard or your pussy wet. I have nothing against either of them. I listen to their podcasts, and they have some really good nuggets and information and topics. And so I really do enjoy that. Although I do have a bone to pick with Joe Rogan. We'll do it in the next episode, but I do have a bone to pick with him. So now that we have the name and who I am out of the way, let's talk about sex. If you thought I was going to start with anything else besides that topic, that's kind of on you. Let's start at the very beginning. Most of us did not have a very full, complete conversation about sex, what it is, how to do it, what it should feel like. I know I definitely didn't. I come from a South Asian Muslim family. And typically the conversation around sex is, don't do it. The end. And it wasn't quite that basic for me. I do have to give a shout out to my mom, which she's probably not happy about me putting this on blast, but my mom did talk to me about, what sex is, also to stay away from it. And this is actually might be a fun story, but for me, the conversation really came about from me being at the mall. Yeah. So the first guy I started dating, and I was in high school. It was very innocent. And we went on a date to the mall because that's what you do in high school. And we were at the mall, walking through Macy's, holding hands and just, having the time of our lives. And I turn to the right and I see my aunt. And oh my God, I'm holding hands with a man walking through the mall, and my aunt just looks at me, and I immediately dropped my hand, and I was like, fuck, I'm like so screwed. Like my whole image of being a, A+ student and the perfect girl has been like destroyed by me holding hands with a man. So I was freaking out. This is like before the era of cell phones. So I'm dating myself, but I didn't have a cell phone. I was totally panicked because I told my mom I was meeting friends at the mall, and that wasn't the case. And I get home and it's like my mom is sitting there like I've committed the biggest sin of my life. And then I got the talk. And the talk went something like, I have been so proud of you my whole life. You are my star child, and I have done my best to give you all the great values so that you can be successful and, achieve great things in your life. And to add another layer to this, my mom is a single parent, and so you're judged so much harder for how you're raising your children, especially if you're raising daughters. And so this is like really heavy and serious for my mom. And honestly, my 16-year-old brain is like, I was literally walking at the mall with a guy holding hands. Like I didn't do anything. I wasn't having sex. Like nothing happened. But anyway, my mom is like kind of instilling in me like the values and like the depth of how important this is. And in that, we started talking about sex. And I don't remember all the details of how it went down or what she said, but basically it was like, don't do it. Respect yourself, respect your body. It's like a thing you do after marriage. And the closer of the whole situation, like whatever you do in life, I just want you to remember that God is always watching. I might not be there to watch your every move, but God is always watching. And you guys, let me tell you how my brain processed that statement. Because from birth, from being in the womb as a South Asian, it is drilled in you that you have to be the best at whatever you do. I don't care if you're on the debate team, if it's like biology class, if it's a school play, whatever you do, you better be the best at it. Like that is like drilled into your mind. Like, being an A+ student is literally the bare minimum. So my like brain is perfection brain of being the best at whatever I do, and God is watching me all the time. This is how it interpreted that whole situation and statement. I was in a panic. Like I was like, oh my God, if I'm going to have sex, I'm going to be a fucking A+ student at it. Like I need to learn everything I can about this situation, about this act. Like I'm going to be the valedictorian of sex. So I like in a panic, and I was such a nerd. I'm like, I need to figure this out. I can't talk to my mom about it. So I went on the internet and I started like looking up like how to have sex, how to like be in control in sex. Cause I always wanted to be a winner, and I'm super competitive. And I'm like, this is an act that takes two people, and I've never done it before, and no one's giving me advice. So I looked up whatever I could look up about like the female anatomy, the woman's body, how you feel pleasure, how to have sex. And that was my first exposure to porn, which was not very helpful, as we all know. Like I just remember watching that and thinking that looks like a workout and it doesn't look very fun. So in this like realm of wanting to be like a perfectionist and good, like that was my reaction. It's like, I need to figure out how to do this because I am going to do it. And the reason I share all this with you is because I was lucky to have a decent, healthy experience. But so many times, especially for women, you're going into the whole interaction not knowing anything about it. You think sex is for the man, it's for their pleasure, it's not for you. You're the object and you're there to please them. And my call and my ask here is to urge parents to talk to their kids about sex. Because if you're not going to do it, the internet's going to do it, bad porn is going to do it, or like Chad down the street who doesn't know what he's doing either is probably going to be the one to teach your daughter how to have intercourse. And a lot of times it's not healthy and it's not going to feel good. So I think it's a big responsibility to talk to your kids about it, to talk about it in a healthy way. And I'm not saying, whatever your religious, cultural beliefs are, like don't do away with them. But I think you need to have the conversation because it is so important. Because when you don't have the conversation, this is something that impacts you for the rest of your life. Like it takes years to undo some of the things we've been taught as young girls about our bodies and about our desire, because that relays over into your everyday life where you don't feel like you can speak up for yourself or you can't advocate for yourself or this is not something that's meant for you. And I feel like for me, empowering women, it's like from the bedroom to the boardroom. It applies in every phase of your life, because if you can't feel comfortable speaking up for yourself or asking for your needs when you're in the most intimate situation with another person behind closed doors, you will not be able to walk into the boardroom and take up space, especially in male-dominated industries where you have to work harder, you have to show your worth more than anybody else in the room. And from a very young age, if you are empowered to speak up for yourself and ask questions and say no, then that's going to carry over into how successful you are in life, how successful you are in advocating for yourself in, the corporate world or in your career. So it sounds like something that might be small to some people, but it has a lasting impact, and it's definitely impacted me for the rest of my life. I feel like there's probably some of my relatives or my cousins, or especially some like aunties in the community who might listen to this, and they're probably thinking like, oh my God, she is so vulgar and she's so vile and I can't believe she's saying these words and she's talking about sex. And just like newsflash, your 35-year-old unmarried doctor daughter has probably had sex before. I just want to break it to you. And the guy that she brought to like the Eid or Diwali dinner as like her research partner is probably the person she's fucking. So they've done a lot of research. Like they have been in the library studying each other's anatomy in very, very, very minute details. So I just want to put that out there before you're going to come at me and judge me. And also, if any of you get at my mom or get at my sister or anybody who's close to me about what I'm doing, I swear to you, I am going to come after you, because I know a lot more about you and your children than you think I do, and I have a mic in front of my mouth. So just think on that. So beyond like what you're teaching, and of course I'm going to focus more on women because I'm a woman and that's like where my loyalties lie and that's what I want to advocate for. But I think it's also important to mention that men can feel a lot of pressure in sexual situations. Men can feel a lot of pressure about like performing or about teaching. And I really don't think it's a man's responsibility to teach a woman how to be physically or teach a woman about her body. So frankly, I feel, and this is not me advocating for men, like please, like men, like I want you to listen to this, but don't get like too excited. Because you guys have a long way to go. And there's a lot of shit you need to fix, but I do think it is like we're in a time where it's just very there's toxic femininity, and then there's the manosphere, and they're on complete opposite ends. And the world to me feels very polarized, when it comes to like politics or values, whatever it is, it's very black or white. And right now, the feeling that I get the most, and that's kind of like bubbling up for me, is like the whole idea of like toxic femininity. And what I really mean by that is all this rhetoric on social media about, pussy power, like women on top, like fuck men, we don't need men. That's toxic to me. And then there's all this shit about the manosphere where it's, all the gender roles of men and masculinity, and like, you need to be the leader and like controlling women. So that's like the other end. And really, I'm trying to bridge the gap between the two. So I will have men on this podcast because, men deserve a seat at the table as well. We need to hear all of their ideas and bullshit and then correct them. And for that, we need them there. We can't just do this in a bubble. But I guess a happy medium would be somewhere in between the toxic femininity and the manosphere is a field of green grass and sunshine. And that space is called the glitterous. It's called the glitterous because it is a combination of the glands and the clitoris. And if you don't know what that is, the clitoris is a woman's pleasure center. The clit has more than 8,000 nerve endings, and it's just purely made for pleasure. And the glands, I looked this up like 2 weeks ago, but the glands is like the top, like the head of the penis. And it's like the most sensitive area. And it also has like a lot of nerve endings, and I don't know how many exactly, but if you combine those two, you get the glitterous. And the glitterous is the happy medium where women and men are both getting their pleasure. And by pleasure, I'm not just talking about sexual pleasure, just to be clear. Like, pleasure comes in many forms. Like, for me, what really gets me off is dancing. I love dancing. I love putting on my heels, feeling sexy, and just doing a routine like that. That excites me more than a lot of other things in life. So whatever is going to make you feel happy and feel pleasure as a man, as a woman, in your own right, when you're coming together, I want to create a safe space for that. But all of that starts from knowing your body. And I think it's more applicable to women because we're not being taught these things. And you can't really go call your mom and ask her about this. And even in friend circles, it's only as of recent, now in my 30s, that I feel comfortable talking to women about sex. I feel comfortable talking about wanting to build wealth, wanting to be rich, like wanting success. These are not things that women traditionally could go after because you're judged for it, because you're a type of girl. So I just want to make it okay for us to want the things that we want without being compared to a man, without being pinned against a man, without hating on men. Because I have no vendetta against men. And I think most women don't. The vendetta is not against men. It's because of the opportunities that we miss. It's because of not having our voice heard. It's because not being able to ask for the pleasure that we want. I want to give everybody listening to this like one short assignment. So I'm going to give you homework because, I'm a bit of like a nerd like that. So my one takeaway, assignment, thought-provoking topic that I want you to think about: how was sex introduced to you? What were some of the first things that you learned about your body, about sex, about pleasure? And how do you think that's carried over into your life? Are there themes around that you still play into your day-to-day life and how you make decisions, how you show up, how you speak up for yourself? And I want you to rewire your thinking about that. And maybe you never got the talk. So give yourself the talk. Give yourself the talk that you wish somebody gave to you, and see how it changes your perspective, because it will. Because if you feel confident in your body and knowing that you can ask for what you want, or you can say no when you don't feel comfortable, and there is absolutely no shame in that, I think that's going to change the narrative for you. I feel like the reason I'm bringing all of this up right now and why it feels so pressing and prevalent for me to talk about it, even though I have worked through a lot of these things for myself, is I was just under this impression that the next generation, the Gen Zers, and I'm a millennial, so I had to experience certain things or cultural standards that, don't really exist anymore. And it is a lot more open and acceptable for women to talk about sex and their desires. But I just felt the next generation just had it figured out because they were, bold and open-minded and confident. And so story time, stick with me. I was traveling across the world post-pandemic. I was working remotely, so I packed my stuff up. Went to Morocco, Lisbon, Colombia, a bunch of different places. And I was doing this like remote travel work thing through a group where they'd pair you up in groups of 3 or 4, and you're like kind of sharing an apartment together and co-working and exploring the city. And during that time, I was, in one of these countries in a city, and I had a roommate with like a younger girl. I think she was like maybe 25. And one of my rules was, whatever you do not bring a guy back to the apartment. Like, I do not want to deal with a random man in their boxers in the kitchen when I'm trying to make my morning coffee. So that was like a hard rule for me. Like, I did not want that. Long behold, one of the mornings I wake up and there's this big, hunky, sexy man in the kitchen when I'm just waking up and all I want is my morning coffee. And I was really pissed off because that was a boundary that I had set. Anyway, this guy leaves. She walks out of the room and she looks like, a tractor ran through her. So I'm thinking, well, shit, good for you. Like, you got some. I was mad, but I kind of forgot about it because I was like, damn, like, he was hot and you look like you had a great night. And she just didn't say anything to me. Like, she was just kind of quiet, which I didn't think much of. I was like, I get it. Like, you're exhausted. And a few minutes later, we started having conversation, and I was kind of pressing her a little bit because I wasn't really having sex. I had way too much work and I was exploring the city. And so I just wanted to vicariously live through her. And I asked her about like, okay, so like, how was it? Like, who is he? Where'd you meet him? Like, tell me everything. Tell me all the gossip. And, she was like, yeah, it was whatever, which I'm like, that man that just walked out of here looking like that was whatever. And I kept pressing and I was like, no, like, tell me, like, how was it? Like, what, tell me all the details. And she started crying. She like just started crying and I didn't know what to do with it. And as we were talking about it, she shared with me that, yeah, like it was, it started off good, but it started getting a little aggressive. I wasn't really that into it. And I just kind of went along with it because, it was like almost done. And I just wanted it to be over. Like, that still makes me so emotional because I think it makes me emotional because of how she said it to me. And yes, she was crying and she was upset about it, but it seemed okay to her. Like that. I mean, that's being violated by somebody. And I'm not going to get into blaming the man for it because I don't know what their conversation was. I don't know the details of it. I didn't experience it. And I know it's a complicated situation. And there's been many things that have come out in the news about, celebrities or, situations where it's like the woman didn't speak up or I didn't know. And I understand that. But for me, it's less about what actually happened. And it's about the fact that she didn't think that was the biggest deal in the world. And to me, that was the biggest deal in the world. Like, I was hell bent about, like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Like, you weren't into it. Like, what do you mean he was almost done? Like that, it was so devastating for me. And it wasn't, she just said, well, it's, whatever, it happens. Things like that happen. And things like that should not happen. You guys, like, that blew my mind. And I think that was the moment where I felt like the effort is not complete. Like, I felt like I had done enough. I felt like, okay, I've worked with the UN. I was involved with the Me Too movement in New York. Like, I've like fought the good fight. The word is out there. Girls are super empowered. They're like in their thongs doing ass shots on Instagram. And so they're good. Like, they can speak up for themselves. But hearing that, and this is, mind you, this was someone who's educated, confident, beautiful, came from a very open-minded family. So for me to hear someone like that being okay with this situation and saying that, it happens, like, it happens, it's not a big deal. It is a really big deal. It's a big fucking deal. And that's not okay. This is your body. And that's part of the reason why I'm doing this podcast, because shit like that is still happening and shit like that is still okay and it's still not talked about. And if I can create a space and get the message out to one person and have them think about their life and their body and their surroundings and, who they decide to share that with and speaking up for themselves, then I'm going to do it. What's a good closer? I feel like I need a good closer. I don't know. I feel like the thing I would really want to say in closing is just like, I don't know, go like flick the bean or something, get some like excitement and juices flowing in your life. That's really where my head is at. I'm super hormonal right now because I'm ovulating, and that's the perfect time to record episode 1. But why don't you do your version of whatever is going to get you excited. If that means like going for a run, going for a dance, or like calling up your mom and rehashing the sex talk, like, just do something with this that excites you, and then share your thoughts with me, share your feedback, because I'm learning as I go along. I just feel like we needed a space to have more open conversations, and that's what I'm providing for you. So have fun, have a good week, and stay platinum.